All right, so carrying on with PPE. So I have here is my hard toque, or my hard hat. Bought it when I first was starting out, and it's, it's a hard hat. Does what it needs to do. I have a light mounted to it, just because doing millwright work in dark spots, as well as getting in there with as a welder. But for the most part, doing millwright work with it. Moving on, or continuing on, this is my helmet. Well, one of my welding helmets. As you can see, it has the flip visor, so you can, in those spots that require you to have dual shielding when you're grinding, having that style of helmet's really nice. It's light, and surprisingly enough, I actually bought this for $7 American at a yard sale when I was down in Idaho visiting my mom. It's been with me for a long time. It's the helmet I take into jobs where I'm concerned about wrecking stuff. If I'm 50 feet up in a scissor lift, I'm not overly concerned if I drop that. For $7, it doesn't owe me anything. I've had it for a long time. I removed the headgear out of it, as you guys can see there, because then I can take and mount it to these little nubs. Now, a lot of companies, for whatever reason, have gone and said, if you're on our site and you're welding, you need to have your welding lid attached to your hard hat. And personally, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Pardon my French. It doesn't protect you any. Now, I do agree with you need to have your hard hat with you, and as soon as you're done welding, hard hat back on. But overall, you're going to see, in my opinion, from the research that I've done, you're going to see more neck injuries than having that combination would prevent other injuries. I've known a few welders old in the trade, had to get out of it because using a hard hat welding lid combination destroyed their necks. When you can, fight it. I do my best to not have to work jobs. I'll try to find other jobs that don't require it, or if I'm forced to and I have to and I don't have any other choice, then I try to go with the latest helmet, one of the latest helmets I have, which is that guy. There's some modifications you can do to these to lighten them up too. I'll have to talk to a buddy of mine and show you his setup for it. Works really well. Over here, I have a grinding shield, again with the two attachments that just clip into my hard hat for when, you have to be dual shielded on site. Doesn't work so well, if you don't have to wear a hard hat in your shop, don't, in my opinion. The vast majority of the places I worked, anything that was going to fall on your head anyway was going to kill you whether you had a hard hat on or not. So awareness, just be safe out there. All right, moving into some other stuff. These are, if you can see it there through the glare, these are my welding helmets that I've acquired over the last few years, or more than a few. Kind of in the stories behind them, why I have them, what I've done with them. So this is when I first got it into the trade. I started off as a plasma table operator, working in the shop, and as I started getting more and more into the welding side of it, the shop I worked at had a loaner helmet, and it literally looked like Bender off of Futurama. It was big, it was heavy, it wasn't very nice. So going into it for a while, my father-in-law had this old ADF Auto Dark, and I honestly think he gave it to me just to keep us from having to move back in with them, or move in with them. So I figured he thought it was a fairly good investment to, help me get moving in the trade. So I used that for probably 4 or 5 months. Then a buddy of mine at work, he had this Miller Titanium Elite, or Miller Titanium 9400i, that he had actually bought off a guy from the same shop. One of those guys that, wants to buy the best of everything as soon as it comes out. It was a really decent helmet. For an Auto Dark, I paid $200 for it used. Did the artwork on it myself. Me and my wife did. And I used it probably for the rest of my apprenticeship. So for another 3 years, I used that helmet. The only real downfall to it was that it was super duper heavy. Having the flip for the grinding shield was nice, but man, it was heavy. I would wear it and do my weld, and I'd take it off as soon as I was done my weld. Set it on the table, do all my fit up, do my next welds. So then in 2015, when I broke out, started my own business, started my welding truck, fabrication business, I bought this Digital Elite. It cost me $450 new. And honestly, I'll have to say, whether it's new or used, for your main helmet, buy quality. Your eyes are super important, and you are really useless without them. So buy a good helmet. It isn't going to crap out on you. It's not going to break at a moment's notice. It's spend the money, buy a good lid. And then, like I said, I was visiting my mom in the States. We just drove past a garage sale. Somebody had that guy up there for $7. I picked it up, and it's the helmet I have when I don't want to risk breaking my good ones. Now, I use this one, that was my main lid until 2019, actually a year ago. So it was 4 years old, and for whatever reason, it wouldn't pick up TIG arcs anymore. And if it did, it went super dark. We're talking like shade 13, 14. It maxed the thing out. Took it to my welding supplier, and he's like, well, you know what? It's the sensors. They go over time. And so I consider myself a general welder, which means MIG, TIG, stick, mild steel, stainless, aluminum, even cast iron, brazing. I've worked really hard to be proficient in all of those skills. So to have a welding helmet that wouldn't allow me to function in one of those skills, I couldn't have it. So I will say, normally I am a Miller fanboy. I really like the equipment that Miller puts out. The portable welder I used or I own on my or used in my truck, it's a 301D. Great setup. I love that welder. But when it came last year, when it came down to buying another helmet, so I was presented with, in my mind, three options. I could have went with another Elite. I could have went. I was looking really hard at the step up from this, but then my welding tool supplier suggested this Optrol lid. And well, obviously we know the way I went. This has been an awesome welding helmet. The cost difference wasn't too bad. I paid just under $5 for this. But the things I like about this helmet on its own doesn't weigh any more than my hard hat does, which is right here. And so it's light, it's easy. You could wear it all day, flipped up, and you'd really hardly notice it was there. The other things I really liked was that there's a button here which will turn the grind mode on and off. Now, my Digital Elite had a grind mode in it, but I never used it because it was a pain in the butt to get to. Where this, it's quick, it's easy. Just reach up, tap your lid, start grinding. It really makes you more efficient as a welder. And as we know, when we're contracting, efficiency is money. And really, that's why we're all here. Having the selection for the, your auto dark selection on the side really wasn't a big deal for me, or the sensitivity. That could have been on the inside and I would have been okay with it. The other thing, the only real detractor I have from the Optrol is that cost of the lenses. They ain't cheap, but you take care of them. There's tricks. I'll probably make a video of it. There's tricks and stuff you can do to extend the life of your lenses, so that you're not having to shell out all the time. All right, I'm going to move on to my next segment, and we'll go from there.